Hello everyone, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about puberty.
I got my period when I was 11.
I had my first little shave the other day.
I remember going to my mum, why am I bleeding?
Spots have really affected me. A science teacher, when she was doing the register, she made everyone say the word penis and vagina.
Let's all welcome in Dr. Sam. Can you just explain what puberty is?
Yeah, so really simply,
Hello everyone, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about puberty. If you could just start by introducing yourself, tell us your name and a fun fact about you.
so I'm Mia, I'm 15, turning 16 in 2 months, and I play rugby for Medway Rugby Club.
About you.
So my name is Niral. I just turned 17 literally last week. I played cricket for Ealing Cricket Club.
I'm Phoebe, I'm 14, I'm 15 tomorrow, but I play hockey and I do horse riding.
Got sporty like bench here, aren't we? So today we're going to be talking about puberty, and later we're going to have a doctor in the chair, you know, talking to us like professional tips and little things that there might be like stigmas about. So yeah, it's going to be a really interesting talk.
So we all know that puberty starts at different ages for different people. So can we just say, like, when did you realise that you'd started puberty?
So I was either 11 or 12 when I started going through puberty, and I think one of the ways that I was able to tell is I went from like 4'8" to 5'2" within a few weeks, and I realised that it means I'll have to buy more expensive deodorants because the ones for like little kids don't really work anymore.
What about you?
So I think I started in the height department. I started quite early. Like in year 7, I was like 5'9", 5'10", and yeah,
How tall are you now?
like 6'1", 6'2".
6'1".
Yeah, so I slowed down eventually, but I started in the height department. I started off quite early, and then another way I could tell was my facial hair. So it started blooming when I was like 14, 15.
What about you, Phoebe?
I started when I was 11. I got my period when I was 11, quite early on. But I mean, I never really had a growth spurt. I've kind of always been the same height.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I don't really grow too much. I'm quite
No, Freddie's always been smaller than me. Well, no, he's been taller than me, but just a little bit. We've always been like around the same height, and then in like the past few weeks, I've grown a little bit, and I'm proud to say I'm taller than Freddie now. Got the bragging rights, so I don't have to sit in the middle in the car anymore. You're sitting in the middle on the way home.
But he's younger than you, no?
He's a year younger than
Yeah.
me. I'm quite small for
He
my
might
age.
overtake you soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with my
hope
sister.
so.
My sister's gotten taller than me. I'm 15 and she's 11, so
Yeah. No, I think it's weird how it all happens at different ages. I think it's earlier in girls than it is in boys. And I
Yeah.
mean, the doctor will like explain why that is. I mean, because it's like, it's one of those
Yeah.
things that nobody really talks. It's not really talked about in school much, is it?
No.
So I think it'd be one of those things that it's like, it's really important to speak about, but people don't want to speak about it. It's like an embarrassment. Do you like speak to anyone like about it when you started puberty? Did you like speak to anyone?
I spoke to literally just like my family about it. My mum particularly, because like she's gone through the same thing, and my sisters as well. But I mean, at school, I feel like it's not. I went to an all-girls school, and I've been at one my whole life, so I don't know if like you have separate talks about puberty, and like if they explain what happens to the other gender or not.
Is it like does it feel more open because you're in an all-girls school? Is it more open because you're all girls?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I feel like everyone just kind of talks about what's going on. There's no it didn't used to be so much. Like when we were younger, it was kind of a bit as it is for everyone, like, oh, I can't really tell them that. Like, but as we've got older, it's just all relaxed into kind of everyone says everything. So, yeah.
What about you? Did you like speak to anyone about it, like family?
So when I first started going through puberty, I got my period about a year into like all the growth spurts and stuff like that. And I remember going to my mum and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know, why am I bleeding? And she was like, it's just you growing. And she helped me through most of puberty. And I feel like I go to an all-girls school as well, so I feel like it's always been an open thing for me to talk about, whether it's with friends, my parents, just family in general, like people I trust.
What about you?
So I think the only place in school where we've talked about it is SRE, like sex-related education. But I think that just ends up being like a circus. Everyone's just screaming and laughing whenever they hear the word penis or vagina.
I think that's like the thing that every, kid is like
Embarrassed about.
Yeah, and they find it funny when but it's one of those things you want to try and get away from the stigma of talking about it, and I think it is really important to talk about it.
I mean, at my school, I think I'm going into year 11, and in my whole time I've had like only 3 or 4 talks on puberty and like 2 talks on sex. It's not been explained like fully, or not fully, but like not enough, I don't think.
I don't think I've had any at my school. I'm going into year 9, but I can't remember.
Yeah, and I think like you said, it's just like when you do talk about them things, it is a bit like a circus, and everyone just goes wild and starts screaming and laughing about it. And
that reminds me of a time in year 7 where my science teacher, when she was doing the register, she made everyone say the word penis and vagina. When we had to say, here miss, penis, vagina.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's like the game I know a lot of my mates play. Bogies.
Yeah.
With Dick and Dom. Well, it's like a word, and they just start like crying their eyes out. They just shout penis as loud as they can, and everyone just starts like laughing. And I think that's sort of good, like taking away the embarrassing side of it and making it funny almost. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it is like really important for children to talk about like body parts and to learn about it in school, like penis and vaginas, and I think it is really important to talk about. But I mean, you two mentioned about your periods. How did that like make you feel? Because like as boys, we don't obviously know about it much. So just tell us about like what it is and how you feel about them.
So when I did first start my period, it came with a lot of hormones, and it just really confused me. Like there'd be 1 minute where I was completely fine, completely happy, and there would be some moments where I would be either annoyed at everyone, or I just want to be by myself, or it would just change constantly. And I'm going to be real, I had no idea what was going on, and I feel like that's why I went to my mum most of the time, because I feel like as you're like a parent has already been through like period and puberty and that sort of stuff, I feel like it's better to get advice from parents. And I think one of the scariest parts of going through like first getting my period is like buying products for it as well, because it's like you're not really sure, because you've not had it for a while, you're not sure which things are safe for your body, which sort of things are going to work best for you, considering also the fact that when you first get your period, it's irregular most of the time, so you're not sure when it's going to start, and there'd be them moments where it would start and you'd be out and you'd like not know what to do at all. And I feel like that's probably one of my struggles as well.
So you mentioned different products, and can you just like explain what different products are?
Yeah, so for periods, pads obviously, like they're the main thing that people use, because they're just that kind of thing that you can wear, go out in, change, and it's like it stops any like leaking at all. And then there's obviously tampons, which like are really good for like things like swimming, or like when you need to go out and you just want little to no leakage at all. But I know that like obviously with things like tampons, they will be a lot scarier for people who are new to their period to use, because obviously it's something new that they've never really done before. And I was completely put off from using them until I realised I'd probably need them a lot because of I was always going out and I'd have that struggle of like my pad, like that you can't wear them for too long, otherwise you will end up leaking. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I'd recommend them as well.
So we've just talked about periods, but let's flip it. And if we talk about body hair, I know girls can get it, but it's mainly for boys. What was your experience for it?
So I think my facial hair, it's been quite a weird one, because I think when I was 13, I just had like little sprouts of hair, just like in the goatee area coming out. I didn't really think about it that much. But then when I was doing my GCSEs in year 11, I think just over the summer holidays, I literally came back to school with a full beard. I don't know how. And everyone was shocked to see me. They thought I've been doing like experiments. I really haven't. It just happened naturally.
I had my first little shave the other day. I was at my friend's house and he had a razor, so all of our mates had like had a little shave. It was funny.
Yeah, first shave is always fun. It feels like, oh, I'm finally shaving. See my dad do it all the time.
It feels really nice and smooth.
Yeah, but I think actually maintaining the hair is very long and tiring. Like if I went to trim this down every week, eventually it would turn into a bird's nest. So
it does look very clean though. Your beard, it looks good.
Thank you. But yeah.
So what about girls? Have you had any like? I know you said it was sort of like when you started puberty, you got a little bit of like, and you just didn't know what to do. What was like your experience with it?
So my first experience with like body hair and stuff like that, like boys normally get like facial hair, but that's obviously not really the case with girls.
Some girls can.
Yeah, some girls.
There's
Some
the
girls
bearded
get
lady and the Greatest Showman.
Huh?
The bearded lady and the Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
Have you watched The Greatest Showman?
Yeah.
Have you not? Oh, it's a great film. Watch that.
So obviously it's mainly body hair for women, and I think that I didn't really notice it till a girl in my school was like, oh, do you not shave? Like, your legs look all funny. And I'm like, oh, thanks. But then when I went, like, about a week later, went upstairs to my mum's bathroom, found my mum's razor, and I was like, I'm getting rid of it. I really can't be bothered. And got rid of all of it, went downstairs. It was the best thing ever. It was like, oh, my God, I feel so smooth. But at first, I was confused on why there was so much hair, because I swear, when I was little, I literally had, like, no leg hair, no arm hair, no just like pubic hair and stuff like that. And then I eventually, it was just all of a sudden when I was growing up, and I was like, where's this all come from? Like, I don't understand. And I went and spoke to my mum, because I was like, what is going on? It looks all different. And she was like, it just comes with growing up, and it happens to everyone, and it's nothing to worry about. You're not the only one, and got a razor, and you just kind of deal with it, I guess.
I think
shouldn't be ashamed.
I've always been quite lucky because I've got light hair, so I didn't even really notice it. Like, and I've got 2 older sisters, so like we've always kind of just had razors and stuff lying around. So I just, when I felt like I needed to, I just kind of started.
You saying you were talking to your mum, so did you feel like comfortable just going up to your mum and talking about, you know, your puberty like story?
Yeah, I feel like with my mum, I'm comfortable to talk to her about like any like changes in my body or anything like that. I feel like she's the person that I'd always go to, because obviously, like, because I'm a girl as well, she's a girl. When she was younger, she's been through all the things I've been through, and I feel like she knows how to deal with it. And I feel like, because she's experienced it firsthand, then she'll have probably the best advice, like better than watching videos on it. But I feel like talking to your parent is probably the best thing that you can do. At least that's how I found it.
So let's all welcome in Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to Jack Jr. Dr. Sam. Could you just introduce yourself, say what's a fun fact about you, and when did you start puberty?
Oh, wow. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. So I'm Sam. I'm a GP of over 20 years, and I work for Bupa. Fun fact about me, I was telling people earlier, I did a skydive earlier this year, which I really enjoyed. Did that over Dubai. And I started puberty when I was about 11, I think.
Yeah, so obviously topic of conversation is puberty. We've had a really good chat with all of these people here about this morning. We've still got some unanswered questions that we'd like to ask you about more of the sciencey stuff and how to like deal with things like other things that you can like do to help.
Amazing. Looking forward to it. Far away.
So should we just start off to anyone listening that's not sure what puberty is? Can you just explain what puberty is?
Yeah, so really simply, puberty is when a kid's body is getting ready to become an adult, basically. So might be physical changes and there'll be emotional changes as well. And ultimately, it means that their bodies are then ready to have babies, so what we call reproduce. So
you mentioned, emotions changing there. Most of that is down to hormones, and I don't really know what hormones are. So could you just explain in a simple way what hormones and what they do and what they are?
Yeah, so hormones are chemicals that you find in the body. So sort of like messengers in a way. So your brain will tell your body that, okay, it's time to start puberty now. And those chemicals are all sort of whizzing around in your blood, going to different places in your body and making them do different things. So some of them will grow and some of them will change their function slightly. So yeah, really simply, that's what it is. And a hormone is a chemical, and there's different types of hormones.
What's the effects in them? Do you have 'cause we were chatting earlier about, sleeping in later, having mood swings. Why does that happen? Why do they do it?
Well, they're doing it to get our body ready to be sort of older, and it's quite a tiring time for our body. So that's why we find that, during puberty, teenagers might want to sleep more because they actually need about 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night because their body is trying to do all these things. They're trying to make you grow taller. They're trying to make body parts get bigger, and they're trying to do different things. And so that takes a lot of energy and effort, and a lot of it happens whilst we're asleep. Also, because you're dealing with all these things in the day and your emotions might feel different as well because our brains are changing, that can be quite tiring as well. You think of all those things you're trying to think about and manage, and so you need that extra sleep because you're feeling sort of mentally exhausted as well. So it is an actual thing. So I know mums and I'm the same, shout at my kids to get up, tell them they shouldn't be lying in. Actually, you can come back and say, well, actually, it's science. My body does need more sleep.
So our parents can't shout at us for sleeping in. Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah?
Unless you've been on your phone all night, which is usually the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell my mum that because I don't have my phone in my room. I try and get a good.
That's brilliant. That's the way to do it. So yeah.
So earlier we mentioned acne and spots. What's the reason behind people getting spots? Because I know it's different with everyone going through puberty, but why is it that when people go through puberty, they're more prone to getting spots and acne?
So I think first thing to say is it's not because people are dirty, because I think we've all heard that, or because they're eating too many sweets or the wrong foods. It's all to do with your hormones again. So your hormones make the oil glands in your skin, and we've got them all over our body, overactive, basically. So you start to produce more oil, and that can make you then get spots. So it's all coming from the inside. It's coming from your hormones. It's nothing that you're putting on your skin. It's nothing that you're doing wrong. It is just purely one of those things.
I guess also then why don't some people don't get spots? Why is that?
They're just lucky. Their hormones are just not overstimulating. So we often find it's the testosterone. So boys are more likely to get bad spots, and they might get them on their face, they might get them on their neck, their back, their upper shoulders as well. So they tend to get them sort of more extensively in more places. But yeah, some people are just lucky. It's just one of those things.
I think my brother, when he lived at home, he's quite a bit older now, but he used to take really boiling hot scorching showers, and he used to think that flared up his spots on his back. Is that what?
Yeah, it wouldn't have made it any better or worse, really. Sometimes the more we scrub at our skin when we've got spots, actually going to make it worse because you are going to make them all inflamed and angry. So we do say, don't do that. Don't pick at them. Don't squeeze them because you're just going to leave scars then. Get some proper medical advice if you need to and get some proper treatment for it. But there's nothing that, you're doing wrong.
I wish I'd learned that.
Does sweating change it? Because I know, when I play football, I sweat a lot and then I start to get some spots, on my forehead. Does that change anything or not?
Well, it's just because all the glands are in the same sort of place. So, again, if you're sweating, you're just making all your glands more overactive. And if you're sweating, you might be trapping some bacteria as well then. So that may make you more likely to get an infection.
So you mentioned, sweat glands there. What do they do? Why do you... Well, everybody has them, but why do you sweat?
Yeah, so we have sweat glands all over our body. But when we start to go through puberty, they can become more active in certain areas. So this will be in the armpit and in our pubic area. So sort of around the vagina for girls, around the penis for boys. And you know, we start to sweat more and we notice that. And what the sweat does is it helps cool down the body if it's too hot. But we also, if you don't wash properly, you know, if you're not looking after yourself, if you're not using deodorant, which I know you also talked about, that's when you can notice that you start to smell and you get body odour. And all our sweat is very distinctive as well, because we also, with our hormones, we secrete something called pheromones, and that makes us more attractive to others. So you may like the smell of somebody. That is a thing. You know, our own bodies make their own smell.
That's really interesting, that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there you go.
So next topic, I think spots is a good place to talk, because I know I get a lot of spots on my forehead from like sweating when I'm playing football. So has anyone else got an experience with like spots or acne?
So I think spots have really affected me like a lot in the last couple of years. So I had like really bad, like red, inflammatory, painful acne on both my cheeks. This was, you can probably still see a couple of spots here. Yeah. So I've already like gone through a lot of it. Right now it's calmed down. Like I remember experimenting with a lot of different skin products, but nothing really seemed to work. I think it's just as you get older, like you should just wait, and as you get older, it just calms down naturally.
Yeah. I mean, girls wear, makeup to sort of cover their spots, and I think it's all right for men to wear makeup. It's one of those things you should like try different products, see what helps you. I know I've had leukemia. And the treatment used to give me like spots, and I used to, flare up with all like weird types of rashes around my nose and stuff. And I found this cream, and it just helped me. So I think it's different for every person, and I think obviously girls use makeup, and boys can also use makeup and like different products. And I just think you've got to find the one that works for you. What about the girls? What have you?
So my experience with things like spots, I didn't get them at all when I was younger. My skin was clear, but then I think the moment that I started going through puberty, I got so many spots, and I have so many just scars on my face from not leaving them alone, and obviously they're there, they bother me, so I was like, I've got to get rid of it. But I found that when I got older, it doesn't really matter if you have spots, and obviously I use makeup to cover them, and I feel like it doesn't really matter for me when I have them, but I got them more when I was first going through puberty, I found, and like I often get them more closer to when I'm getting my period. So if it's in a few days, I'll get a lot more, but then it will calm down.
So earlier the girls were talking about periods, and obviously that's one thing for girls that comes with their puberty. What is it? And I think you were saying earlier about something, I can't remember what.
Toxic shock syndrome, which like I know that you can get from different types of kind of barriers that you can use. If you could like explain that a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure you all know, but just to sort of repeat that everybody or girls will have a period probably every month is usually the case, although for some it might be slightly longer. And what a period actually is it's blood leaving the body. And it's because the lining of the womb, which develops in anticipation of a baby maybe being made and needing to grow, and the womb is where the baby grows inside a girl's body, is there, but because the girl hasn't got pregnant, it's not needed, so it sheds and it leaves the body, and that's why you see the blood coming every month. And we catch the blood so we don't make a mess. Some people use tampons, which we put up inside. Some people use cups as well. So these are sort of silicone cups, so they can be reused. So tampons, you tend to use them once, you throw them away once they're done, that's it. Cups are reusable, so they're actually better for the environment. So they go inside a girl's body, they collect the blood, they wash them out when they're full, and they put it back in again. So it can be used over and over again, not just in the same period, but in subsequent periods as well. So there's different ways of managing the blood that's coming out.
What an amazing chat. Thank you everyone so much for coming on, telling us about your story. Dr. Sam from Bupa, thank you so much for coming on and bringing a bit of sense about puberty. Really, really important topic.
Yeah, and if you're out there wondering about puberty, please go and talk to someone about it or research about it, like reading a book or online, so you're not alone.